Triple Formula One world champion Niki Lauda has died 9 months after receiving a lung transplant. The Austrian was widely respected in the sport and was well known for his steely determination. It was never more evident than when he returned to the racing cockpit just weeks after a crash and fireball at the German Grand Prix that left him permanently scarred. Antonio Silva reports.
Niki Lauda was born in Vienna in 1949. He was interested in motor racing from an early age, even self-financing his racing career. His parents didn't want him racing, but the young driver was stubborn. He entered Formula One in 1972, but his career really took off when he moved to Ferrari. The Austrian went up to give the Italian team its first victory in 2 years and developed an intense rivalry with British driver James Hunt. He won the world title in 1975. But in '76, a crash at the German Grand Prix could have ended his career. He was left with severe burns. He had tried to stop the race due to safety concerns but was overruled. Despite suffering extensive burns, he was able to return to racing, winning 2 more world titles in 1977 and 1984.
A new car and was firmly back in the...
He retired in 1985 and moved into team management with Ferrari, Jaguar and Mercedes. His post-racing career also included setting up 2 airlines, both bearing his own name. But Niki Lauda will forever be remembered as a defining figure in the golden era of motor racing. Antonio Silva, Euronews.
Well, I'm joined now by motorsports expert George Levy from the American Motorsports Hall of Fame. Hello and welcome to Euronews. Niki Lauda was considered to be one of the greats of Formula One. Can you just explain to our audiences why that was?
Niki was the ultimate F1 maverick. He did things his own way. He had self-belief that was off the charts. And he spoke the truth, even at times when people weren't always appreciative of him being so candid, but it was part of his personality.
And he had incredible drive and determination, and that was never more evident than during the 1976 German Grand Prix.
Yeah, what happened there was, was tragic, and almost any person would have, spent the rest of the year recovering and deciding whether they were going to race again. He came back from having been administered the last rites and was back in a race car and competing and winning in 6 weeks' time.
With his head still bandaged with the injuries that the fire had caused.
There are friends of mine who were there when he would take off and put on his helmet, and it was a very off-putting and sad sight, but he had that kind of incredible determination to go on and continue fighting for the championship.
And that determination was evident throughout his whole career, because right from the beginning he had to defy his family, he had to take out a series of loans in order to pursue his love of racing.
Yeah, at the beginning of his career, he bet on himself. He took out that enormous loan, which he could only pay back if he was successful as a racing driver. At that point, he hadn't won anything in Formula One. He was just coming up the ranks. And he, of course, was right and became one of the great drivers of the 70s, winning 2 championships. He retired from the sport. And when he came back in '84, he again, showed his character when he had this new teammate at McLaren, Alain Prost, and Niki very early in the relationship realized that he could no longer outdrive Prost at that point, so he outsmarted him and focused all his attention on the race setups of his car rather than to do well in qualifying, so that he could be absolutely as fast as possible in the race. And he ended up winning the championship by half a point, and that was his 3rd and final championship.
And his influence continued up until the modern day, because he inspired the next generation of Formula One drivers, including the current champion, Lewis Hamilton.
He's been a huge influence on Lewis Hamilton's life, and I think Lewis Hamilton would be the first to say so. When Lewis made the decision to go to Mercedes, it was in part because Niki was there, someone he respected so much, and knew that he would get straight talk and the best possible advice and support from, and that characterized their relationship through, all these championships through to today.
George Levy, really good to get your thoughts on Niki Lauda, who has died today. Thank you.